I read all the things that you're saying about me. I know how you really feel. And listen, you are one of the greatest performers in the world today, one of the biggest stars in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But to me, you mean as much as this turtle. And just like this little turtle hit his head when Chris Jericho came and stood before him, it's the same thing you're going to do, and all your stupid fans are going to do. Naito, I'm going to fuck you up. I'm going to take your Intercontinental Championship from you, not because you want it. You don't want it. You're too tranquilo. I'm not tranquilo. I'm fucking crazy. I'm going to show you just how crazy I could be at Dominion on June 9th. I've been waiting for 6 months to get my hands on your filthy, stupid head. Yeah, that's what obviously you want. Kiss my fucking ass.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is the 31st episode of the A Show. I am Justin, and I'm with my co-host Meelz. What's going on, Meelz?
Yo, it is time. What? Oh, the Off-White. Oh my God! Wait, hold up.
I just got on it.
Just got on it. All right,
yeah,
you weren't even tell me. I was gonna. Oh my God! Wait a minute. Let's see.
I didn't think you cared.
I care. Come on, I care about these things. Relax. I gotta sign in my account. Oh my God! All right.
Yeah, I had to do that. I'm in line. I'm probably not gonna get them.
I'm probably not gonna get them because I'm just not even in line. Like I'm. Wait a minute. Hold up. Oh, I'm in line. All right, whatever. All right, yeah. All right. So yeah, that was an exciting start to the podcast.
That usually means the L. If you're in line, it's just over.
I've been in line before on Sneakers app, and I've gotten stuff before.
I've never gotten it online ever.
I've you know what? Don't take my hopes away too soon.
I'm not. I'm just saying, like,
listen, there's been so much news of everyone getting the bag this week. I'm just trying to secure a bag myself. Can't let me at least have that.
Ain't nobody stopping you, brother. But it has
got
been
him. What?
Wow, there we go.
I got him. Yo.
There we go.
Yo.
Everybody secured the bag today.
Yo, I secured the bag. Oh my God.
Now, are you gonna sell them, or are you gonna?
All right. So here's the. All right. So here's the thing. All right. So I don't know. I don't know anymore. This is a lot to handle. This literally just happened since the start of the podcast.
You always catch on sneakers though, which is crazy.
No, I don't. I really don't. Like, this is the first time in a long time. Wow, I gotta tweet this shit out. I gotta be that guy for a second. I'm sorry, man.
All good.
You know what? I need a moment. Let's talk about professional wrestling. Let's talk about the world of professional wrestling, and everything that's going down this week, and probably the most important news.
Oh, the most important news, obviously, is the WWE and Fox agreeing in principle to bring Smackdown to the Fox network, and that will not. It's not FS1. It was going to be on actual broadcast or network television. On your Fox affiliate in October 2019. It is a unprecedented $1 billion deal for 5 years where WWE will bring SmackDown to that network. It broke the internet a couple days ago when it was announced. I could believe it because, like I said, like they've been building to this for a very, very, very long time. Mm-hmm. But I think that this is something that is obviously exciting for a lot of people, and a lot of people are trying to, like, no matter how you downplay this, like, this is a pretty big year and a pretty big deal for wrestling because it's going to be on like network TV. Like it's a big deal.
This is the return of WWE to network television, and as we know, their prior stint on UPN, CW, My Network, all that other stuff.
They weren't real. Those weren't real. Like,
UPN was kind of real. people have UPN, man.
It's not Fox NBC like that. That's like real network, Fox.
Come on. Listen, UPN, the Parkers. Come on, One-on-One.
You just named off a bunch of black TV shows that nobody's listening to.
and listen, they were there, and right after probably King of the Hill reruns or whatever, all this other shit. They had fucking SmackDown, and SmackDown was on network television. To me, all right. Back to the point that I was originally trying to make. The point is that we're pretty much in another boom, a wrestling boom. This is how, in terms of what I equate this deal is, because I don't think anyone on network television 6 years ago would have wanted WWE on it.
Yeah.
I don't think Fox was interested. I don't know anywhere else that was really interested into, even the news in terms of them re-upping with USA was the shareholders weren't happy because they pretty much got it for less than they anticipated.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, this has been like I said, I think I said on Twitter, like, this is like the big payback for Vince, where it's like,
big payback.
4 years ago, NBC Universal gave him like 450 million, 500 million. And he was like, yo, what the fuck? And this was like literally around the time that the network dropped. And then it was like, you know what? They really changed their whole vibe ever since then. In the past 4 years, they've doubled down on philanthropy, whether you like it or not. Like that's something that's helped the WWE stature a whole lot with like Be a Star and the things they do for the troops and the stuff they do for children and stuff like that. Like all of their things there really help kind of change the company from what they were in the Attitude Era and make them into a real seemingly progressive company, where it's like, they are into a lot of different, or their hands are in a lot of different hats. And
right. No, I just you gotta applaud them in terms of just not. I wouldn't say it's a complete 180 on sort of what happened, but it's just revamping everything from the top to the bottom down and doubling down on things. They took a risk with the network in terms of it being able to work and everything like that. They've since then they've established their connections with just people outside of the WWE, like ESPN and TMZ and all these other major. They've tried to legitimize themselves, maybe not even as a sport, but some sort of entity that is legitimate. Because I feel like the word professional wrestling and the WWE has been known for just fake sports for so long and has been downtrodden for that. But it's really become one of the most popular entities in the world. It's more popular. I feel like more people on a weekly basis watch WWE wrestling than anyone else.
Absolutely. Even with the ratings, it just seems like a win for Fox all around. Like Fox is consistently kind of like I want to say like number one or number two network in the game. So like they WWE, Raw or SmackDown kind of, it averages over a little over 3 million, a little under 2.9, 2.8 million every week. And most Fox shows don't even hit that. Every single week on Friday. And a lot of people have been shitting on the idea that they're going to bring SmackDown to Friday. But I think it's a great idea. It's a layup. Fox gets to own that night.
Go ahead.
Because even though people are like, oh, who's watching wrestling on a Friday night? I'm like, a lot of people will. A lot of people are not going out at 8:00 at night. They're going out at like 10. Will
you watch wrestling on a Friday night? I'm interested to know that.
I would. For the purposes of this show, we're going to either have to catch it on DVR or catch it live. I think it's going to. We'll get to this in a year, but it's gonna affect the way that a lot of people kind of consume the product and review the product. But I don't think that it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna hurt. On Fridays, I'm not out until at least 11.
And do you think that they will maintain the sort of live aspect of SmackDown? And I say that because really, SmackDown was in a major slump over the last, I'd probably say, decade, largely because it wasn't live. It wasn't a show that really had any sort of stakes to it. There wasn't anything that was just like strong behind it. It was just like, it was just a show that was taped on Tuesdays, that aired on Fridays, that never really had the development of everything. Now that it's its own brand again, now that it's live, it's really sort of taken over this new life. And, we still have our ups and downs with SmackDown, and currently we're Judging by this episode, we're in an up period. Trust me.
Yes. Yes. But I don't think Fox is paying for a non-live show. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be live. I don't think that anyone has to worry about it not being live. I think that it's for sure going to be a live show and continue to be a live show for the remaining part of its time on Fox. But you just think about the way that they're going to tie this in with football and baseball and shit like that. Like, they get more money when it gets tied in with these things. So it's like, just imagine you're watching Thursday Night Football and there's a lead-in for SmackDown the next night.
Right.
And I think that's extremely exciting. It's something that they can't get on USA. Because, I mean, they're kind of between Crisley Knows Best and the Cromarties. You know, it's like, it's not really much you can do there.
Listen, this is just a top-notch deal for everyone. For everyone who's, to me, I still don't get why people are necessarily doubting this decision, like it's a bad decision or a selfish decision or something. This is a phenomenal decision that they've made. This is phenomenal for the business. This is phenomenal for the longevity of the WWE and what they can continue to do. This adds a lot more eyes to SmackDown. SmackDown on network television? Yeah. Like, come on. Like, Raw already owns and essentially what we heard before the Fox News was that we heard that USA was going to pick up Raw and then they were going to just allow SmackDown to go be bidded. Like, they really didn't care about it. But then WWE was like, word, well, we get in the bag now. This is essentially, we control everything that happens in the WWE, so we can control how good SmackDown is or not. It just seemed like, listen, they went out, they got it.
I'm proud. All hell Vince McMahon. I think
shout out to Vince, man. Shout out to the model that they built over the last couple of years.
Yes, absolutely. Like, just the amount of money that in advertisement they'll be getting is going to be crazy. Now, I asked this question. I kind of funnel this question rather to people. Do you think that, and I'm not sure if the Fox affiliate here airs news at 10. I do believe they do, but do you think that they're going to do 3 hours for SmackDown or keep it at 2?
Ooh, okay. So, you know what? I think if 3 hours on a Friday. So the Friday thing still bugs me out because as good as I think, you know, Fridays aren't the worst, but to me, I personally, Friday night is not a television night for me, but it is what it is. But 3 hours on a Friday, I would, if there's 3 hours any other day of the week, I'd be for it. But on a Friday, it just seems like people will get used to it. I mean, when we had 3 hour Raws, the first hour always did terrible.
Yeah.
The first hour
they released at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, the first hour was always consistently terrible, and it brought the average rating down. But eventually, people got used to it, and I think people did that. Do I think they'll do a 3 hour SmackDown? Maybe like a 3 hour special.
For the first night?
Yeah, for the first night. See how that goes, and then we move into, we'll see if this becomes a permanent thing. But for 3 hour SmackDown, they got to load up that SmackDown roster, and I mean, NXT guys are going to be called up by a major wave.
Yes, absolutely. Or not even just NXT. I think a Brock or a Roman makes sense on SmackDown if they're going to do that, just to make it a huge deal. I could see Brock Lesnar going to SmackDown.
Listen, as long as he's wherever the bag is right now, and he saw that $1 million, million. What the fuck is that? $1 billion, and he said, "My God. This is amazing." But did you see the news that just came in though?
What happened
with ESPN and UFC?
Oh yeah, I definitely saw that.
UFC now on UPN. UPN. Wow, not on ESPN. If UFC on UPN, that would be lit. Actually, ESPN secured the rights for UFC for a $1.5 billion deal. So literally just a day after they announced the SmackDown deal, Dana White's just like, word, $1 billion. What's up with that? $1.5 billion. So
yeah,
to me,
I think that's a cool deal for them. I think once again you're pitting UFC and WWE head to head. Yes. From what I understand is that a lot of the UFC cards aren't even like worth watching right now. So like it's kind of like they're gonna have to really load these cards out again and make them exciting and make them something that people actually want to go watch.
Right.
So we'll see on that end. But ESPN, and the thing is, it's funny that days before that, Ariel Helwani actually announced he was going to ESPN, and it kind of predicted or foreshadowed that this was going to happen.
I mean, the sports business is big. NFL will be, figuring out its rights deal pretty soon. A lot of things will be moving pretty much soon in the sports world. But Fox say they wanted to become a juggernaut in the sports world, and especially in live sports world. And this is certainly one step on their way to becoming that.
And now, yeah, exactly. Now they are. Congratulations to Fox and WWE. What else happened this week?
Listen, let's talk about everything that's sort of happening in the New Japan world, and maybe you can brief on that.
I unfortunately, this is very rare. I have not had the time to stay up all night to watch these cards.
Wait a minute.
Yes, I am a dog owner now, and he is fucking 10 weeks old. And
he has talk about it.
He has me and my significant other up for all times of the night, just crying and stuff. So I'm extremely exhausted by the time that 3 o'clock rolls around. I have not watched a single card from the Best of Super Juniors at all. I failed you guys. I'm sorry. I haven't watched anything. We should get someone on the show to talk about it next week. I believe it should be ending by next week, I think. But I've heard that there have been some really strong matches between ACH and Ospreay and a couple of other guys on the whole tournament. I haven't seen it though. I've heard it was good.
Well, did you at least see anything that happened with Chris Jericho?
Yes, I did see that. I didn't like it. I don't feel like the profane, super cuss word, heavy promos, they don't work for me. And I know a lot of people really like that whole attitude era or attitudinal thing, but come on, man. Jericho saying he's going to beat Naito's fucking ass and all this other stuff is just, I think it's extra. It's really superfluous to me. And I don't think it adds to anything. It just kind of builds to the fact that there's really no story that's going on with these feuds that he has with Omega and now Naito.
I think always the peaks of Chris Jericho's career has been when he was a heel, because he's really, really good at it, believe it or not. And he's one of the best in the world at it. And every time, believe it or not, every time he's won a world championship, he's won it as a bad guy. And it's probably for a reason, just because he's so damn good at his job. Do you feel like just the way he carried on with this promo, with the incessant cussing, it sort of takes away from the mystique of the creativity and sort of getting things over a certain way?
Well, what do you mean by that?
In terms of just the creativity of being a heel and managing to get people to hate you, not for just using profanity in large doses, but by literally doing these things or saying sort of when he used to call people mucilaginous troglodytes, call it, and I just butchered the first half of the word, but whatever. Used to call that, I believe when we have the list became a thing, even though it got him over as a face. It started off as a very heelish thing. Yeah. We've been through these sort of iterations of the conspiracy Chris Jericho from WCW, which is one of the best forms of Chris Jericho. Now we're kind of getting very wily sailor swearing Chris Jericho, and I don't know. Is everyone okay with it at this point?
I think they are, because anyone is trying to find. It's the same thing with the Fox deal. People were trying to find ways to shit on WWE about that. It's well, they never let them do that in WWE, so it's automatically better. And it's that's not really always necessarily true. Again, it takes away from the actual story. There is no story here. I think what he did New Year's Dash was way more but way more effective than what he did and shout out to my man Cyrus for saying this, but yelling into a phone in Tampa. I think that was way more interesting and way more effective than that. I just feel like he just wanted to get on there and start cussing, and they're allowing him to do that because the language barrier there is such where he can do that. Mm-hmm. And he's just running with it. And I don't think it's all I don't think it's all good. I really don't like the. And I gotta keep it 100. I don't think he's been super strong since he showed up to that first show where he showed up and beat up Omega. Like
Right.
nothing to me has beaten that segment since he's gotten to New Japan, in my opinion.
My God, I didn't get to see it.
I did watch that last night, and I was like, man, you guys have gassed this promo to high hell. Like it was not good. It wasn't a very good promo at all. That's about as much as I have to say about that.
Another thing that was announced earlier this week, we have the participants in the United Kingdom Championship tournament coming this summer.
Yes, very excited about that. There are a bunch of people that I'm going to try to get more familiar with before the show airs. But there are a couple of people there that I do know. I believe Travis Banks, is in the tournament, and I've heard a lot about him. So I'm gonna get caught up with him before the tournament starts. And there are a lot of people that are coming back for this year. But the most notable absence is Tyler Bate not being in the tournament this year.
I think, you know what? I think considering everybody who's featured in it, it looks like they want to get a new crop of stars over or at least a new crop of stars introduced to WWE television. And I think honestly, Tyler Bate would have been great in this tournament nonetheless.
Yeah.
But I think maybe this time they just like, you know what, let's see what else is out there. And they managed to grab 16 superstars of various weights. I don't know all of them, but I'm very interested to learn all of them because I'm just interested in the European style of wrestling anyway. And last year was a successful tournament by all means. I mean, we had a tournament that produced one of the best matches of the year. We got a couple stars out of it. This year, the names that we know featured in this tournament are Gentleman Jack Gallagher and Drew Gulak, both featured on 205 Live, which is a great little cross promotion on the network. But we have a slew of names. I really have no idea who most of these people are.
And I think that's the strength of the tournament because we didn't really know about a lot of the people last time. And from that, we got Pete Dunne. And I think he's been a resounding success story out of that tournament.
100%. And then it also coincides with, it looks like at least an NXT show. I mean, the NXT brand will be touring alongside this show, and we're gonna have all the championship matches during the show. We'll have a 6-man between the British Strong Style and the Undisputed Era. So it looks like just an amazing show that's going to air June 18th and 19th on the WWE Network live from Kensington, London, England, the Royal Albert Hall.
Yes. Now, what time will that air?
God knows. Listen, it's hard enough to just schedule this this podcast with the time zone differences. But we'll figure it out soon. I'm sure it'll air sometime in the afternoon for us and in the morning for you.
We will definitely figure that out. That's the only thing I'm afraid of. It's like we got SmackDown Fridays coming, and then we got Saudi Arabia shows, and then we got UK shows. I love WWE, but I mean they gotta find a way that we can all do this shit at a certain time, man.
Did you manage to catch any second of Total Bellas this week?
No, I did say I was hopping on.
I said too, and then I was just like,
I did see the ratings, and the ratings were not good.
Oh, really? The storyline of the century between Nikki Bella, John Cena, and Will They, Won't They?
Yeah, it didn't seem to get a lot of viewers this time. I feel like the thing is when you put that on social media, it doesn't drive people to watch a show.
No, it
drives people to watch a feed. And
you're right.
And I think that really affected, I don't know if that affected the ratings, but I know that it affected it might have affected the people that actually cared about it. Because then as soon as like the show aired, you start seeing Cena and Nikki in pictures saying that they're back together again. And it's like, well, I'm glad I didn't get too invested in that, or I'm not going to watch the show.
Right. I think, you know what? I also think it's just because it's a very similar style of reality show that we've seen for just, if you watch any reality show on E, or you just watch any reality show produced by Buna Murray, it's a similar style. I mean, if you watch Total Divas, this is a similar style of show. You're not really missing anything. You're there for the 2-minute clips that are just going to be, going to be hilarious to me. I watched it via YouTube. I watch the things, and you can tell some things are contrived, and you can tell that they're sort of setting up this long story that they're going to tell. They've already started planting the seeds for whether Nikki should stay with John or not in the show. And there's this scene where Brie Bella is just like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And he's like, "I've changed his mind once before." And she like flashes her ring or something. And she's like, "Maybe I'll be able to change his mind again about having kids." And yeah, it is what it is. But, this is a similar style of show that we've all seen before. This isn't anything new. Daniel Bryan is still the most down-to-earth person on the show, who doesn't take it seriously at all. And, it's just, to me, it's entertainment. And it's not a bad show, but I just personally, I may not go out of my way to watch it until we get to maybe that season finale.
Yeah, for sure. I want to see why it happened and why John Cena's heart was broken, and see literally what he was talking about. I would love to see like a John Cena reality show, but I know I don't. But like I do, but I don't, because I feel like this guy's like Patrick Bateman in a way. Like I think he's really crazy in real life.
I think he's just, I think we have enough. To me, John Cena is like the prototype not stereotype. I wouldn't say stereotype, but just the prototype, like pretty much just like white American male, And I don't know if there's anything like too different. I don't know if he has any quips or quirks or anything. The man, he seems from time to time to me play it up, and he'll do funny stuff from now and then. He definitely has a sense of humor, but I know he's way more serious about his things. And he's just, I don't know if I would want to see an entire reality show about John Cena, his white American family and his white American house and all this other thing. So it's just, to me, that's how it is. He's just like a slice of America is what that's just kind of how I feel it is. I'm way more interested in the upcoming premiere of The Miz and Mrs., which has now been announced to be airing. Oh, what fuck? I just had the date. It's airing in July.
July 24th, I think.
July 24th. It's airing
21st.
It'll happen after SmackDown though, which is a good little slot for The Miz after you finish just watching, SmackDown. You just, hey, I want to see more of The Miz.
Now, if this show, it's July 24th, I was right. I'm so good at my memory. But now, if this show does get another season, that they're gonna miss that lead in because it's going to be on Fox.
Man, I do not know if the show will get another. I don't know. We you know what? I'm not sure if, again, I like The Miz, but I know this is just a similar style of reality show they've all done for years. And as much as like I would love to see how The Miz's life go, I've already seen The Miz on reality TV. I kind of know how he is. I watched him for like 5 years on reality TV before he came to WWE, so I kind of know what his life is. And he was featured on Total Divas. So, it's not, you're not really missing out on anything unless you want to see Maurice give birth to a kid. So shout out to them and Monroe Sky Mizanin.
All right. So do you want to get into these weekly shows? I think there was definitely a show that we both preferred over the other this week.
Oh my God.
Do you want to just get this out the way now so we can get through Raw really, really quick? Let's just get to the Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley segment. Yeah. Because last week I asked, how racial are they going to get here? And I might have asked the wrong question because I really should have asked, how stupid are they going to get here? Wasn't racial at all. It was just more, it was offensive in how bad it was.
It was offensive that way. I was wary in a sense because I thought judging sort of based on how people react to things now, it could come off as maybe like transphobic, which is what I was thinking. But it's just like I didn't get, especially with the optics of everything going on, I didn't get like how this was supposed to be funny. Like I didn't get in 2018 where people do decide they want to make certain steps with their lives and, you change gender and they don't feel comfortable within the genders that they have now. And they do decide, you know what, I want to live my life now as a woman or live my life now as a man. And I didn't understand how bringing out 3 men dressed as women in 2018 was supposed to be funny.
Yeah, or funny, or even if it was a storyline where it was supposed to be these guys coming out and Sammy hired them, and the whole key to this was to beat up Bobby Lashley in the ring. He was going to get so mad that you were going to beat him up in the ring. It's still a bad idea. I think like even if that was the case, it's like it's still stupid. And then I feel like even if you brought out 3 black women, it would have been just as stupid, and it would have been probably even more offensive.
You know, I gave them credit for following up on something because I was just like, well, what came from this? But it's just, I was just like, my God, this is kind of bad. This is like all bad. Like none of it was good.
Holy shit. One thing that just got announced. I love how we do this show and like things get announced immediately and we were able to actually talk about it. The Royal Albert Hall UK tournament show on the 19th of June will have Aleister Black teaming with Ricochet against EC3 and Velveteen Dream.
Look at that. Look at God, man.
That is going to be crazy.
That's amazing. That's incredible. Like it's a show that I think what we learned from last year's show about the UK thing is that I think we had maybe like one special attraction match, and it ended up being like the debut of Aleister Black versus Neville, which was just an incredible attraction. And I think they've learned, let's capitalize on that.
Yeah, he was still Tommy in there. So it was like he hadn't even, it was before he changed over. So they don't even count that loss on his record because he was technically a different guy. But I really thought, but back to Raw, but I really feel like that segment was just something. And I saw someone mention this on Twitter where it's like, you know who's going to come out of that looking way better than all of them? And they were like Sami Zayn, because it was like, that's how they do at WWE. It's like, they'll basically put you in and throw you into the fire and make you do the stupidest shit. And then if you come out of it and you look like gold doing it, then you'll be made for life. And I really do think this is going to, even though he looked really awful doing this, I think this is going to end up being way better for Sammy than it is for Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley to me now is a dead character. He's DOA. I have no interest in seeing him wrestle anyone, much less Sami Zayn.
You know what? I think this feud I'm kind of confident in this feud just by how great of a performer that Sami Zayn is. And if Sami Zayn can get under the skin of Bobby Lashley enough to irk him, and this can be sort of this can be sort of a great opening feud for Bobby. But I think Bobby's bread and butter is less theatrics and things like that, and more like he's about the action. Yeah. Like he's about that. So we need pretty much, at this point, we need people who hits Bobby hard so Bobby can hit hard back. And I think that's really where he'll begin to shine. Whereas I don't really think he, in these sort of segments, what he's supposed to really contribute. Like, it is what it is. Let's see. He did get a pop for beating up, all 3.
Yeah, but that's because people knew that segment was about to be over.
Yeah, maybe.
They knew that segment was almost over, and they were like, I'm very glad that we don't have to sit through any more of this bullshit. But it's still... Again, it's still a very like tone deaf. I think is to say the least is really what that whole segment was, and I just really don't know where else they can go with Bobby Lashley after this. I even thought him coming out and spewing those really awful lines really did a disservice to his character. Also, it's like he pulls out one of the guy's dresses, one of the guys has a beard and a mustache or whatever. It's like, all right, guys, like it was as bad as advertised. I'll say that. I think
they definitely kept the beard and the mustache to say, like, listen, this is a joke. Like, relax. Like, this is a joke. Like, they made him look terrible on purpose because of that. But speaking of segments that went forever, that opening segment on Raw, my God.
Holy, why are we still pushing Roman Reigns as if he is in some way shafted, or like he's lost? All those matches, he lost those matches.
He's 100% lost. They introduced Stephanie McMahon back to the show, so she's back on the show at least for this week. And there's this promo back and forth between her. She's pretty much everything that happened at WrestleMania or like slightly before, it doesn't matter because she's back to belittling Kurt Angle in the middle of the ring. Because at the end of the day, she signs his checks and really nothing has changed since then. So, shout out to WrestleMania.
And listen, I don't think that I don't think that she was completely awful on this show. I think she moved a couple of storylines forward. She made a couple of kind of like, she made the decisions on the show, and I didn't mind.
Did. But the opening segment between Roman coming out and then KO coming out and then them having a match and then people running in and then they all having a match. It went for the first hour of Raw, and I was just like, I don't know if I don't know. I felt like it went way too, like all this sort of story went way too.
An hour. Yeah, it was an hour.
And it was just like, did we really, like, they're really trying to push Roman? And so we saw Roman for pretty much an hour on the show. A full third of the show was dedicated to Roman Reigns.
Before you even knew, an hour had passed. But I mean, between that, we got a really good Roman and KO match before it got stopped by DQ. Between he and Roman Reigns. And then you also got a really cool tag match between Jinder Mahal and Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. And of course, they're hiding Roman once again next to someone who's way more popular than him, like they did with Braun Strowman a couple weeks ago. And it's also, and this also led to Jinder Mahal and Seth Rollins having a match next week for the Intercontinental title. I'm not sure what Roman's going to be doing, but if Seth Rollins can pull this off with Jinder Mahal, listen, he's wrestler of the year, period.
100%. I mean, we'll have to see next week, Monday, live from Richmond, Virginia.
Hey, shout out to Richmond, Virginia, my home.
If they can sort of pull this off. Now, the second segment that Stephanie McMahon was involved in, she did all the heavy lifting. She did all the minor work. She did all she practically signed the dotted name. She practically signed on the dotted line for both competitors in this match.
Listen, she had to, bro. She had to.
We are talking about the contract signing between Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey.
Yes, like, listen, who's going to carry that program with promos? And I know a lot of people are mad about this shit, but I'm like, it ain't going to be Nia. And it isn't going to be Ronda. It has to be Stephanie. And I think having Stephanie be the shit stirrer is a great role for her. Like, she looked really, really great in that whole segment. I really liked it.
What did you think about, because there are just like those hints of just like, or at least people assuming that maybe Nia Jax joins the Authority, becomes the new corporate champion.
I think that's an awful idea because I don't think Nia didn't work as a face. I think it's too early to take her out of that. But if you're building Ember Moon as the top face that will eventually like have the title, and I think they're doing a great job with her right now, just as a side note. But I think it's just a bad idea. I don't think you should turn her. It's so heel heavy on Raw. Like, who are your faces on Raw right now on the women's side? Ember, Nia, Ronda. And then it's like Sasha and Bailey. Like, I don't even know what they're like chaotic neutrals to me right now. Like, they're not really anything. And then you have a bunch of heels. You got the Riot Squad. Then you got Mickie James and Alexa. It's like a whole lot.
It's just a lot. Raw was not between. I think the highlight of Raw came 2 hours and 55 minutes into Raw, which was the amazing main event between Braun Strowman and Finn Balor.
Really loved this match. I think it might have been Braun Strowman's best match since the Roman Reigns ambulance match, I believe.
It was really good. To me, I think his performance in the, let me not say Elimination Chamber. Elimination Chamber was kind of, it was very linear. So maybe, I would say this was probably his best match since then. Yeah.
Yeah. I really loved how much, and here's my thing with Finn Balor is that this guy's main event at 4 Raws this year, maybe? 4 Raws? 4 or 5 Raws? No, he did. He main evented against Cena. He had like a qualifying match or something like that. He had the Seth Rollins match and he had this. Listen, I really, really, really think that they protect Finn more than they do with anyone on a loss. Anytime Finn loses, have you ever noticed that commentary literally like doesn't talk about the winner at all? They talk about Finn the whole time after he loses. Like, they say, you got to give it up to Finn. He's, uncrowned Universal Champion. He gave it his all, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it's so crazy what they do with him here, but they gave Finn a lot against Braun Strowman.
They gave him so much. I mean, even that counter to like that running, bulldozing shoulder, and he counters into a sling blade. I just thought that was amazing. Him, getting the coup de grace off the apron. There's just so much back and forth in this match, and just the reps that Braun Strowman is going through over the last couple of months is going to make him a better person in matches. I think just Finn Balor's what they gave him in this match and just the back and forth of it all establishes him as a main event star. I think we just need to really see a cornerstone, like a monumental win, and the fact that he just needs, if it's a title, it's a title, but just a monumental win. He hasn't really had one since he won that Universal Championship. Actually, since he probably beat AJ Styles a number of
last November.
So he hasn't had that sort of monumental win. We haven't even had a reason to bring out the demon.
And I like that they haven't done that. But I also think, once again, with like Sammy, how they throw you to the fire. They've been look at the types of opponents they've been giving Finn. They've given him Elias. They've given him, a taste of the upper mid and the taste of the main eventers. And with Braun, you kind of have to paint with broad strokes with him. It's like you can't really have a technical match with him. So what he did was they created a match where it looked like Finn had nothing, and Braun was really just telling him like stay down and don't get up. But Finn kind of, I'm not sure who produced this match, but they really made Finn look great in that final 5-minute burst. He looked like he could take Braun Strowman. And I think Finn being able to carry these matches with a lot of different types of opponents, that shows the faith that they have in him. And I don't think that they don't see something bigger with him, but I think he's been on a very, very long and arduous road since that shoulder injury to get back to where he was. And I honestly think he's almost there.
I think Finn Balor is just doing great. Like everything. I love the match.
If Seth wasn't going on a tear that he was on right now, Finn Balor is a little bit maybe at the bottom 5. He'd probably be top 3 to me right now. Like Finn Balor's had some fucking bangers this year.
100%. A few more notes from Raw before we move on to the much better show. We had Chad Gable versus Dolph Ziggler. You think this is leading to a Jason Jordan American Alpha sort of, reboot?
Holy shit, I didn't even think about that. I forgot about Jason Jordan. Yeah, I forgot about them.
For the past couple of weeks, I've been like, all right, here, Jason Jordan come out. But he's cleared to wrestle. He's been he's supposedly going to return in Richmond, Virginia. Where returns happen, baby.
Cool. I mean, cool. I dope. If they do that, give that to them. I listen. I do not think. Yeah, I think Chad Gable's really talented. I would have loved to see a singles run with him, but if they can't do that, I would love to see them team up American Alpha and then do a breakup angle with them. Because Jason Jordan is a completely different character now, And they could do it for a couple of weeks, maybe go against Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, who seems to be like the de facto team that I guess AOP was supposed to be, but now AOP they're like curtain jerking and they're doing main event now. But I wouldn't mind that. I just really don't. I was trying to stay optimistic about Raw. I'm continuing to stay optimistic about Raw, but like 1 month in, I'm fading here. I'm wondering like where something needs to be shaken up in the top of the card and even in the middle of the card. And I'm trying to figure out what they're going to do with it. It's taking a lot longer than I expected.
Maybe they need Road Dogg writing Raw.
Oh hell no! Some weeks I really feel like he is writing Raw. So, really, like I don't feel like he wrote SmackDown on Tuesday. I really don't. Like I feel like
and the last note from Raw is Natalya qualified for the women's Money in the Bank match
in a really like whatever match.
A very sterile match. Yes.
I mean, do you want to talk about how Elias is really like over now? And
Elias has been. What are they doing though? It's like, what are we doing? Like we know he's over, but they're just kind of stalling a lot.
I think they want to do a double turn with him and Bobby Roode.
I would hope so, but they're really stalling. Like this man has been over for more than a couple of months as of right now. When he calls out to the people, they answer. when he sings, they're waving their flashlights on their phone. Like the man's over like Rover. He's way more over than Bobby Roode. Way more over.
Way more over. Way more. And I'm way more excited. But the thing is, put those two in a ring. I'm fast forwarding the DVR.
Yeah.
Put those two in a ring. I'm absolutely doing something else. I'm turning on my Nintendo Switch or something. I'm not watching that. But that was Raw. I felt was a really bad show this week. I really didn't enjoy it at all.
No, not really. I mean, it was just 3 hours. They were just like, oh my god. But SmackDown, my god.
Oh, we did get a confirmation of Roman Reigns and Jinder Mahal in Chicago.
Yes.
Remember we said, oh boy, about that. So good luck to both men. I'll say that.
Money in the Bank, Chicago. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal.
Good luck to both men. We could see Jinder Mahal get a Stone Cold Steve Austin pop, or we could hear Young Bucks chants, or we could hear CM Punk chants for the 10 minutes that they go against each other. I have no clue what it will be.
Probably an all-in chant. I'm sure we're gonna get an all-in.
Hey, I don't blame him this time. I really don't blame him. I really think Roman needs to be rehabbed very badly, and I don't think Jinder's the guy to do it.
SmackDown Live.
I feel like a lot happened on this 2 hours.
So much happened, right? I was like, yo, is this like the 6th match we've had on the show and it's only been 2 hours? I felt like so much happened during the show. Don't get me wrong. None of the matches really lasted that long except probably the main event and probably the opening match too. But I think so much happened. We had this great opening segment with The Miz and New Day, where The Miz is probing the New Day about, like, listen, which one of you is going to be in this match? Like, he's trying to pit them against one another by you bringing them up and then shutting them down and saying the reason why they haven't been as successful as they probably could be is because they're holding themselves back, which is honestly a stone cold lie, because probably the combination of all three of them has done way more and has done way more for their careers than they've done for themselves singles wise.
Yeah.
But Big E and The Miz, a great opening match.
I thought that, listen, me and you always agree that Big E's like the breakout star. Mm-hmm. We're starting to see it. We're starting to see that they're going to position him as such. And I thought who better to put him against than The Miz? There were some really cool things, really cool spots in the match. I think everyone's going to be talking about that Kofi spot where he jumps over fucking, what was it, Cesaro?
Cesaro jump on Cesaro's shoulders and dive onto them. That was fucking incredible.
Yeah, and I really love that spot, but I really like the way Miz won the match. I really think Miz is again on another level right now.
Yeah, he's 100% on another level, and now we've got one of the big matches on SmackDown next week will be The Miz and The Bar versus The New Day, and it should be a very exciting match.
Banger for sure, banger.
We've got. How do you feel about Carmella? Carmella, trying to convince us that she's gonna have Asuka's number.
I don't have a lot of faith in this match at all. I think in order for this to work, they had to cool off Asuka a lot.
Yeah.
And Asuka to me is super cooled off now. And I think like you got 4 weeks to build her back up, granted that's cool. That's fine. But I just, if you were going to give Asuka, and we've been predicting that Asuka's going to get the belt anyway. Yeah. She was going to beat Carmella anyway, but it's like, are they really going to have Carmella beat Asuka to prove a point? I don't know what point they're going to prove by doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the point of having Carmella beat Charlotte and Asuka? It cancels out that whole WrestleMania match to me. Like that, now that is canceling the match out. You know, like I didn't feel like Carmella beating Charlotte to win the title off of some bullshit was really canceling it out. I feel like her beating both of them really devalues that match. I feel like you have Asuka beat Carmella and then you have Asuka Charlotte too, have Charlotte win the briefcase, or have Charlotte do something else to get to the match, and then have them go against each other at SummerSlam, and then have Asuka lose the belt to the Money in the Bank winner. So they'll both have dealt with that. But if that was the case, why didn't you just give Asuka the belt at WrestleMania? I don't get it.
Come on. It just seemed like a no-brainer.
You drafted her there anyway. Like it didn't make sense to me.
Speaking of Money in the Bank, we saw a very unlikely competitor qualify for Money in the Bank, and I probably saw it from a mile away once I saw the match card. Once I saw what was going to happen, I was like, "Oh, she doesn't have a chance, unfortunately." And it was Lana versus Billie Kay, and the hoops they jumped to sort of make Lana.
They was protecting her.
Make Lana a star. And even pairing Aiden English is like, listen, Aiden English, I didn't know he had the juice that much. I really didn't. Completely. And I didn't even know that we were pairing. It looked like they were doing a breakup storyline. I did not know we were pairing Aiden English with Lana. I didn't know he was just going to be like the weird third guy in this thing. But listen, he got her over. By the end of the match, people were chanting Lana all over
Lana
this.
Number one. Lana is the best. Lana number one. He got her over in record time also, by the way. When he pulled that sign out, she was the biggest face on the women's side. I
want to know who wrote that. I want to know whose idea was that. That was incredible.
I thought that was an excellent spot there. And you had the fuckery there, because I don't know if Lana can like work I don't even know if Billie Kay can really like work a full match like that. I've always liked Peyton more than Billie, but
yeah.
And you had Lana do the face buster and had her go over there.
Listen, the face buster was she needs to work on the face buster a little bit, because I'm pretty sure the person's head landed way before Lana did.
And Billie, that's a lot of Billie taking the move too.
Yeah, I mean, it's the timing. It's the timing of it all. It really is. On SmackDown this week, we got to see the tag division for the first time in like a month.
It's a 2-hour show.
Listen, it's a month. It's a month, and we're just deciding. I mean, granted, let's hope we're going to see more of this over the next couple of weeks, because Money in the Bank isn't for a few more weeks, and we've already solidified the number one contenders for the Bludgeon Brothers is the club. Gallows and Anderson defeated the Usos.
It'll be a nice like 9-minute pre-show match.
Do you think we get the serious Gallows and Anderson, considering that they have this tall task against the Bludgeon Brothers, and I don't think the feud really works with them calling them nerds.
Again, I don't think they'll be on the show next week. I'll be honest with you. Like,
my God.
I really think that this is it is what it is. And at the end of the day, they're going to get beat by the Bludgeon Brothers in 5 minutes or 9 minutes, and that'll be it. And I really think they're making way for Sanity. I think that this is just a stopgap in the way for Sanity to debut.
Shout out to Sanity,
they didn't even have a vignette anymore. They didn't have a video.
Collecting a check at this point.
Exactly.
Also qualifying for the Money in the Bank female match, Naomi in a good match against Sonya Deville. They had a really good match.
I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, I know a lot of people were down on it, but I thought they had pretty good chemistry.
Yeah, I think because they worked so much against one another overseas in the UK, that they really just brought it in this match. In
4 minutes too. It was a 4-minute match, and it ended up being pretty good.
Now the lineup for the women's Money in the Bank match, we have Charlotte. I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head. We have Charlotte, we have Becky, we have Naomi, we have Ember Moon, we have who am I missing? Ember Moon,
Alexa
Bliss, and one more. There's one more in this match, Natalya.
And there's one more spot to be added. So 7 is Lana.
7 is Lana, and then
it will be determined on Raw on Monday in a 7-woman gauntlet match. So that match will probably take up most of Raw on Monday.
Yeah, I think so. Listen, looking at this match, we literally have 6 faces and 1 heel in this match.
It's got to be a heel, so it has to be Ruby Riott on Monday, right?
I'm hoping so. I mean, for star power, I'm assuming it comes down to Bayley. No, you know what? Bayley might get eliminated first. She tends to do very terribly in these things.
They might put Sasha and Bayley as one of the matches in the gauntlet. Honestly,
I think that's probably going to kick it off.
Yeah, I think that would be the match you kick it off with.
We get to a Ruby Riott. I would just choose Ruby Riott at this point. There's really nothing else going on, and there's really no other woman on the roster who I could see, being in this match, besides the obvious. A few more things, because just SmackDown was packed. Like
it was. If we didn't even mention Andrade Cien Almas beating up that white dude.
Oh my God. Elbowed the soul out of that little white boy, man. Like, God damn.
He sold it excellently. I thought that was an excellent sell by that guy.
Send him to the PC, my guy. Send him. He's earned it.
Yes, I think a lot of people were. It was weird because a lot of people were concerned about Andrade last week, and now they're not concerned about him this week, and they thought it was cool. And I was like, well, it was the same match. It just had a elbow this time, but I really like the vicious streak that he shows, and he kind of shows off when he's pissed off. I really think his program will not stop. I think he might do like a little short program. I would love a Sin Cara, maybe a Ty Dillinger. And have a little short 2-week program there, and then after Money in the Bank, you can put him or slot him in somewhere else with a bigger name. I do think they have something big for him. I think that
if you had to book
that 5-star match, it's not lost on anyone in the back, I'm sure.
If you had to book him at SummerSlam, who are you facing him against?
Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy
for the U.S. title, or you if he's able, you put him against a Randy Orton. He needs a big win against a big person. In the same way that Daniel Bryan did on this show.
Right. And I agree. Randy Orton or Jeff Hardy. Speaking of those, the main event, a great main event, man. Banger, okay. Who knew? Like, you see Jeff Hardy versus Daniel Bryan, and they're both very like competent in-ring superstars who they can have a good match, but sometimes the chemistry doesn't always gel up. And the way Daniel Bryan and Jeff Hardy really turned it out for this match, it was fucking incredible.
Yeah, I really love the whole match as a whole was really good, combining the technical and the high flying side, and the Samoa Joe commentary actually added to it as well.
He's a great commentator.
I really like him as a commentator, and even sliding the heel stuff into that too was really cool. One thing I'm really enjoying is Bryan's. He has a mean streak, and I loved how he applied the dragon screw into the.
That was a sick dragon screw too.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying Bryan's. If that's his new finisher, I'm all for it. I fuck with that.
It makes sense. At this point, it really, really does make sense. The heel hook is a painful maneuver. I love the very violent counter to the Swanton Bomb and how he sold that. Like, he sold that like he was shot in the back. Like, it was incredible. And finally, we have the main event. One of the main events. I don't even know. Maybe Roman and Jinder will main event. Money in the Bank. We have the main event for Money in the Bank on the SmackDown side. It will be Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles in which match was it?
Last man. Oh wait, it was pillow fight. I should have said pillow fight, but it's going to be a last man standing fight.
It's a last man standing match.
Listen, really love the whole segment as a whole. Really liked Shinsuke Nakamura as a promo.
He's so good. You know what? AJ did this thing where he was just like, he obviously was just like, people didn't understand that. Let me reiterate it. Where he was just like, oh, pillow fight? What is that? Yeah.
I had to make sure that got over. But I think that Nakamura it's all in the way that he delivers these lines. I think with anyone else, it would be really, really bad. But with him, it's like when he says like, your house is mine, you know, your title's mine and stuff like that. Like, need a face is over. A lot of things that he does and says are over, but it's the way he delivers it and the body language he delivers it in. And I have to say, like, everything but these matches are really good.
Yeah. It's becoming I don't know if a feud for the ages, but it's really becoming one of the highlights of this entire shakeup thus far. Yeah. It's just this feud between AJ Styles and Nakamura, and I think it's adding a lot more personality and a lot more context to Nakamura's character. Nakamura, when he debuted, just at some point just felt like cool for the sake of being cool, but now you have all these sort of actions and mannerisms that he's, incorporated into his entire package, and it's just working out very, very well. His the brutality on SmackDown, that he can bring it as well as he can, on the mic as well as he can in the ring, and that's really all you kind of want as a heel in the WWE.
And I really like him as top heel. I know they're like kind of positioning Joe to be that pretty soon, but I would hope that they would stick with Nakamura. I really hope he wins. I really do. I really hope he wins it Money in the Bank. But
I hope so too. Next week on SmackDown, we get the 6-man between the Miz and the Bar versus the New Day, and we also get a main event of probably, the century, Samoa Joe versus Daniel Bryan.
It's WrestleMania worthy.
It's WrestleMania worthy. This is the main event that SmackDown ratings have dipped a little bit. I expect them to be a little bit up for this match.
I hope so. I know that Joe isn't like the guy he used to be, and I know Brian's just getting back into the groove. But I think they're gonna turn this out. I think it's gonna be really, really cool. I would not miss that for the world. I really think it's gonna be an awesome match. I really also think that Big Cass is gonna play a part in it. But geez, have they kind of like killed his guy's character for the past 3 weeks?
Murdered it, and quite honestly, they gave him a fake injury. He's not even actually injured. They give him a fake injury to just like, all right, you're not in the program anymore. Like,
he's looked like a bitch. He's looked like a bitch for like a whole month almost. And I mean, after what he did to that little person the other week, after like asking for permission and being told no and shit like that, like he deserves it.
Listen, he 100% does. But that was the week in wrestling. That was the week.
Did you watch 205 Live?
I did not watch 205 Live. What happened?
You had a really great Hideo Itami and Akira Tozawa match.
Ooh, I did see that happened.
I would tell anyone to go back and watch that, because even with all of the matches there, that might be my number one match of the WWE week so far.
Okay.
Really good match.
I'm down.
I'd go Akira and Hideo, Finn, Braun, and Jeff Hardy, Brian for the week in order.
Listen, get it in while you can. I'm gonna watch that tonight then.
Yeah, I really like that match a lot. You're also getting a lot of hype for Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander, which happens next week. That goes on next week on 205 Live.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's gonna be pretty good, pretty dope. So I'd say we should watch it next week for sure.
Let's do that. I'm locked in.
We're all locked in, motherfucker. But yes, that is the Week in Wrestling. As always, you can check us out at RNC Radio Live on Twitter. We just had 2 new playlists go out. I believe we had the R&B and RNC went out. The update went out. We had a really awesome Janet Jackson playlist done by Call Me Dollar. That came out last week as well.
Shout out to Dollar.
Shout out to Dollar for that. It was a really, really, really good playlist. And we also, I think we had 3. Well, we re-upped the Lil Baby.
We re-upped Lil Baby. We up R&B and RNC. We did RNC Radio Live last week, Friday as well. We're coming with a new playlist at the end of this week as well, which will get you ready for the weekend. Hint, hint,
yes.
nudge.
Yes.
So, we're cooking on all cylinders moving into the summer.
And we're also cooking on all cylinders on all types of outlets where you can actually listen to our shows. So now RNC Radio is now on Stitcher. We are on SoundCloud and iTunes as usual, always. And shout out to everyone who subscribes to our SoundCloud and our iTunes. We're also on Google Play as well, so you can't miss us there. I think, am I missing one?
No, I mean we're still looking to really be everywhere at this point. So where there's a podcast avenue, we're registering the RNC Radio domain and we're taking over.
Yes, so stay tuned to that. We're looking into Spotify right now. We're going to look into that and Podbean. So for anyone who has any type of way to listen to podcasts and shit like that, like there is a way to listen to us if you really want to listen to the shows. And we of course love everyone that supports the shows and listens to the shows in any type of way that you do it. And next week we'll be back with another episode of the A Show. We'll be talking about SmackDown, of course, and we are really, 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 really far away from the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, aren't we?
We are really, really far from Money in the Bank. Maybe we'll record that special episode that we've been talking about.
I think we should do that.
I think we should do that. So maybe look out for extra special content coming down the pipeline soon.
Yes, sir. So for Meelz, I am Justin, and thank you for listening to the A Show. Until next time, peace.
Happy Rusev Day.